Live 2021. I do want to give a quick shout out to Tyler Salt for that Zelda Rupee t-shirt purchase. I saw it earlier. I wanted to make sure I got the incentive down before I announced it, but we appreciate that, my friend. And this is the marathon on Speed Gaming 2. There are some tournaments going on throughout the weekend on our other channels, but we will be carrying this marathon through the weekend and into next week. Now, we are raising money as well for the Speed Gaming Live 2022 prize pools. And of course, there you can nominate games you want to see in next year's tournaments. And at the same time, you can pick any of the different donation incentives we have for the runs and have a chance for winning any of the different prizes like perlers and shirts that we have in rotation. Now, as far as the game goes, next up we have Sonic 1 Forever, and it's going to be HUD's giving us another run. RPG is joining on commentary. Good luck on the run.
Thank you very much, Toddman. Yep, me again, unfortunately, for all of you out there. Maybe not unfortunately. We're going to have some more fun with some Sonic. Yeah, we're going to be running Sonic 1 Forever. I'm not going to explain what this is because I'm going to let my incredible commentator do that instead. For this run, I've invited along the wonderful, the fantastic RPG. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Oh, hello, Colin. Nice to see you come out. So, yeah, the Toddman, just to confirm, the incentive for adding Tails, for bringing Tails along, was not met. Which, yeah, we found out from the previous run. So, yeah, we're not bringing Tails, which is sad in some ways, but actually really good in others, because Tails is the biggest orange hindrance ever in this game. He's useful in maybe 3 or 4 acts, and the rest of the time he just gets in the way. So, actually, I'm kind of happy about that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on with this game. Solo Sonic, Sonic 1 Forever, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, well, what I'm going to try and do my best here is to get through all the features that are in Sonic 1 Forever before HUD gets through Green Hill Zone. As you'll have picked up straight away, we're in widescreen, which is beautiful. This is based on the Taxman ports, I believe, of the Sonic 1 Mobile 2013 version made by Christian Whitehead. There are lots and lots of quality of life features. You'll have seen the Spin Dash, you'll have seen the Insta Shield already. Sonic even has the ability to do the peel out, which is something we probably won't see very much in the run, but it is a really, really nice feature that is included. Getting through Green Hill Zone in less than 20 seconds, it usually takes most speedrunners, and a very, very good run in the standard Sonic 1, about 25. So I think that really highlights the sheer amount of speed that you can get through just having the drop dash, the spin dash, and the Insta Shield. Another really, really nice change is that all of the shields are replaced with elemental versions. Grabbing a lightning shield so we can double jump through Green Hill 2 lets us go over this really, really scary section with the moving platforms and the spikes with no trouble whatsoever. Again, blasting through the level, coming in well under what you'd expect from a traditional Sonic 1 run. What's really nice, to be honest, about the way that Sonic 1 Forever works, all of the things that I've talked about there are optional. You can toggle the shields back to be regular shields. You can turn off the spin dash and the drop dash. You can re-enable the control speed lock if you really want to. If you relish in your own pain and suffering, you can turn the spike mode back on and play the game the way it was intended. You can literally turn it back to be Sonic 1 but in widescreen, and that's honestly really, really cool. HUD's zipping through Green Hill Zone now as fast as he possibly can. He's going to grab an invincibility, not quite, in a tree there to help speed the boss up. If he had brought Tails with him, he would have deliberately manipulated him to get to respawn right at the boss, and using the Insta Shield, he could have used Tails' Flight Assist to hover Sonic just into Robotnik's hitbox and finish him off really, really quickly. But just like that, we're out of Green Hill Zone, a zone which really nicely showcases all the extra features and mobility options that Sonic has picked up over the years, just in time for him to get to Marble Zone, a zone where he can showcase almost none of it. It is beautiful, the juxtaposition.
Oh, you couldn't have set that up any better.
Well, I will say though, with the Insta Shield though, does come in very, very handy in Marble Zone, in that, for those not aware of how it works, it increases Sonic's hitbox so he can damage things from further away, and it gives him iframes or invincibility frames. They last just long enough that you can sort of not phase through as such, because you're not moving through anything, but you can avoid damage from any fireballs. If you're very, very quick with it, and I'm hoping we'll see this in Act 2, you can actually just make contact with the lava at the bottom of the levels and have time to jump off it. The fire shield they've included in this level does make this particular section a bit of a breeze, though, just squeezing underneath that block there to avoid being crushed by it. Cheeky little damage boost to hop up into this section, and gonna just wait on that big crusher on the right so that we don't get absolutely clarted by those bats there. Although I said that, you know, this level doesn't really lend itself very well to Sonic's extra mobility options, breezing through this in just under 52 seconds is a really respectable time for Marble 2. Sorry, Marble 1 even. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Marble 2 does allow you to spin dash and do a bit more cool stuff in it, which is really, really nice to see. A couple of spin dashes and drop dashes to go over here. We're going to take a damage boost as run under the lava here in a second, and that's going to... Oh, we're going to go over. Interesting. Really nice.
Yeah, tricky jumps, those ones. Really tight window to do them in, but if you get them, it is faster.
Yep. This particular section here that Huds has just gone through is actually more difficult in Sonic 1 Forever because of... Oh, not quite. The widescreen makes the spikes come onto screen a little bit sooner, and it makes their cycle a bit harder to avoid. Something that will be much more prevalent in later zones is the sort of the difference between camera and global cycle, which is something I know was touched on. Nice insta-shields there to dodge the fire. Something that was touched on in the Sonic and Knuckles run, where some things are moving from the beginning of the stage and some things only from camera. The crusher blocks and the spike blocks, for example, are camera cycled. Ooh, very smooth getting up on top of that. Really, really nice. This could be a cheeky sub 1 here for Marble 2. Extremely respectable time.
Ooh, that was nice.
Marble 3 is going to be the first sort of, I wouldn't say significant route change, but the actual solo Sonic path is very different from the Sonic and Tails path. In that, although Hud's mentioned he is a colossal hindrance, and he is, he does allow you to take a really interesting shortcut here where there is a Tails, I'm doing air quotes, Tails exclusive, I say Tails exclusive, Tails and Knuckles route that solo Sonic cannot access. However, using the Tails Flight Assist, you can fly Tails Sonic up there and just use the route anyway. But without Tails here, we're forced to take this really nice, relaxing, tranquil ride on this green block across this lava flow and just take the perhaps more standard route that you'd expect to see from a Sonic 1 run.
But note that Marble 2 was a 4-second gold.
Ooh, very nice. As we come up this little lava plume here, we're going to avoid a few spikes, and then we're going to just seamlessly transition into a wall. This is not a glitch. This is an intended secret route to get to an extra life and to skip a really, really annoying section of the stage. I will say, and these are words that I cannot believe are coming out of my mouth, Sonic 1 Forever is currently a glitchless Sonic game, in that there are no real glitches that you can make use of. Actually, that's not true. Didn't we discover that there is a glitch in time attack mode with the checkpoints?
That's in Sonic 1 2013, which is what this game is based upon. So for anyone wondering, this game is a fork of the decompilation of the 2013 remaster of the original Sonic 1. There's a mouthful for you. So yeah, in Sonic 1 2013, there's a known glitch in the ILs that allow you to kind of teleport forward in the time attack mode. Not present in Sonic 1 Forever, as far as I'm aware.
So it is completely glitchless then?
As far as we know at the moment, yes.
There are a few interesting areas where you can sort of go above the ceiling of the level, but again, it's not a glitch per se, in that it's just creative use of level boundaries.
Talking of ceilings.
Spring Yard, indeed, speaking of ceilings, one coming up right here. Spring Yard is a really interesting level in that it really rewards you for going fast. The speed shoes at the very beginning of Spring Yard 1, Huds wants to try and hang on to for the whole stage if possible. When done, executed perfectly, this can get like a 22, 23 second time, but anything less than 30 seconds here is absolutely fantastic. A 27.0 is utterly phenomenal. This is a zone that I think, somewhat like Green Hill, really nicely showcases how much the drop dash and the spin dash can really add to Sonic's move kit and make his whole movement just more faster and fluid. Spring Yard 2 is another deceptively short level. We're going to be using the insta-shield a little bit. Very nice peel out. We're going to be using the insta-shield in a few places to just avoid spikes. Drop dashing to keep up momentum across these slopes. Really nice jump. Slowing down to avoid the troll spring that sends you back into the bumper hell. And, ooh, nice insta-shield just to make sure you didn't get hit there. We then have to just really quickly jump over one last little spike pit. And we're ready to jump and go for swoosh towards the end. Are we getting full swoosh? Yeah, very nice. Very crucial that you avoided the spring there that sends you up into the ring jail, where literally all you have to do is just walk around and get out of it.
Harder than it sounds to get out of that one as well.
Very much so. Spring Yard 2 being sort of notable for having two signposts. There is a signpost on a lower route that is a little bit slower to get to. Springyard 3 is one of the longer levels in Sonic 1. Really, really nice clipping over that little grey rotatey spike thing on the floor that I can't really think of a good word for. You may have seen in traditional Sonic 1 runs that players will try and squeeze underneath those blocks. If you do that in Sonic 1 Forever, you just die, so opting to not do that there. This route across the top of Springyard 3 is extremely difficult to do with base Sonic 1's mobility, but with a spin dash, it is substantially easier.
Again. There we go.
Ooh, nice cycle. That lined up really, really nicely there.
Have to wait for that one. If you fall down, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, you have to wait on a big set of those really slow-moving platforms, and it just wastes a huge amount of time. Nipping into that hidey hole to grab an invincibility and a speed shoes, which Hutz is going to try and keep all the way to the boss. The only obstacle between him and the boss now is this little party pit of doom, which he's navigated perfectly, and the invincibility is not strictly needed for the boss, but it's just nice to have the safety buffer. And with the insta-shield now correctly working with its increased hitbox, the rest of the boss is an absolute joke. Really nice spin dash onto the capsule, and that is Springyard done and out of the way. And much like the really clean transition between how fast and fluid Green Hill was, and how, no, you're going to sit on platforms, Marble Zone is, Labyrinth is a little bit like Marble Zone in that regard. I will say, it is my favourite zone in Sonic 1. I realise that is not a terribly popular opinion, but unlike Marble Zone, I think this one's honestly kind of nice. And the spin dash and the drop dash do come in kind of handy here.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna restart.
Yeah, you're going to have to restart there if you lose a water shield. The bubble shield is incredibly handy for a cheeky little trick set up in the second half of the stage that basically skips it all.
Lab 1, why? Why are you doing this to me today?
It's just you're having a bit of difficulty with the floor grounders and with the spike ball. I really thought the floor grounder was getting you then.
There we go. That's
okay, there we go. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Right, hanging onto this bubble shield now. It is very handy that the bubble shield allows you to breathe underwater in the underwater zone. But it's going to really carefully hop into the water here, bounce off this badnik, and set up to do a bubble shield bound for this badnik. This springs you out of the water and skips you onto the secret route that normally you'd have to descend all the way into the water for. Fortunately, with the bubble shield, we don't need to do that, and that cuts the level down from around 50 seconds to under 40 when executed to perfection. This is looking like a really, really solid Labyrinth 1 so far. And there is this, I think, the solitary use of the peel out in the run.
I think I'm fairly certain off the top of my head that is the only time I peel out in the run.
And it's just nice because it gives you the same speed as a fully rev spin dash, but the speed doesn't decay because you're running, so you can just about clear those gaps of blocks. Lab 2 now is a little bit trickier than Lab 1. We're going to have to hop into the water. We've got no rings for this first section, so we've got to be really careful with the badniks. And this particular badnik up here, we need to remember that he's there. The way that sort of objects from badniks work in this is they don't deload unless you're really far away from them. So it's very possible when you come up this spring that if you've not strayed far enough from that Orbinaut that was at the top, you just get smacked by one of his balls as it comes across on the screen. If you haven't picked up any rings, you can die there and go back to the beginning of the stage, and that's a bad time for everybody. We can't do the sneaky little glitch where we clip into the wall using the platform because A, that glitch doesn't work in this, and B, it's a glitchless run anyway, so we're going to have to hop down through this little aquatic labyrinth section at the very, very bottom. Hopping on these little platforms just to hop up at the end, doing it without needing to stop for air is relatively straightforward, and that's just going to put us right in time for the cataclysmic hell that is Labyrinth 3. Although, there is one very, very minor change at the beginning of Labyrinth 3, which does make it a little bit easier. And I'll be honest, the way that it treats the mobility and sort of helps you out in the stage, it's a delight to watch, and it's really, really satisfying to pull off. Going to just take the start of the level as normal, but then, instead of jumping straight for the switch to activate the shortcut to carry on with the level, Buzz is going to detour for where the shield is. In Sonic 1 Forever, that is a bubble shield. You can probably already see why that's going to be useful in this stage, where we're going to be underwater for the next roughly 45 seconds or so. This allows Hutz to do an extremely difficult strat called Bubbleless, where he's going to do this whole underwater section without needing to stop for air. The bubble shield also comes in really handy because it is quicker to use the bubble bounce repeatedly to scale up the sort of uneven walls of Labyrinth Zone than it is to just do the standard jumps. So we're going to see that here as we go up this section in a second, and once we ride the corks up in a second towards the boss, we're going to see extensive use of it there. We will unfortunately be saying goodbye to the bubble shield in due time though, as there is another little treat right before the boss room, which is going to be in the form of a lightning shield. And I'm spoiling that early, so when we get there I can give Huds a little bit of quiet time so that he can focus on doing the ascent. Because again, doing this without rings, only with a lightning shield, this can be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to leave Huds to do this.
Oh, dang. Okay, it's fine. We can, we can recover, he says. There we go, we're fine.
Nicely done. Getting ahead of Robotnik there is incredibly difficult. Staying ahead of him, once you're ahead, is equally as difficult, but the lightning shield is so powerful there because instead of sort of winding, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm sort of making an S shape with my hand. Instead of winding around in an S shape, up and across, left and right, you can just go directly up the middle. But again, it's really, really easy to lose it. If the water catches up to you, you lose it as well. Starlight 1 is a nice little breather. Toddman, if you're there and you have any messages, now would be a really, really good time for them.
Sure, let's take a minute and talk about the upcoming incentives. The next one we have on the docket coming up is for the choice of the Ninja Gaiden Black costume. We have choices between Black Falcon, Dragon Muscle, Red Muffler, Dead or Alive, or the classic blue uniform. After that, the next incentive we have on the docket is Super Mario Odyssey, the Unlock Boxers incentive. That's $0 to $70, or excuse me, 0 of the $70 needed. Back to y'all.
Thank you very much. I personally would go with blue. I mean, you know, Sonic, so.
Zipping through Starlight 1 and into Starlight 2, there is a really cool route that you can take through here. It's very similar to a route you take in the original Sonic 1, but with extra steps. We're going to do a couple of quick slope jumps off of this to gain speed, and ooh, unlucky sub-pixel. But luckily, because it's a spin dash, we can just stop, try again, pick up a lot of speed, and jump above the ceiling. We can then use the drop dash to keep jumping between the ceilings, and just fly over the whole rest of the level. It's really clever, or really interesting, sorry, the way that they've sort of accounted for that in this port. If you try and fly above the stage with Tails, or glide above the stage with Knuckles, your mobility gets completely shut. But I guess they didn't expect you to be able to get up there with Sonic, so the drop dash just works perfectly fine. Moving into Starlight 3, this is another place where Tails would be a tiny bit helpful if he were here, and that he'd allow us to skip this seesaw and this seesaw to the left, and have just flown all the way up to this section. Without him, it doesn't really take too much of a detour, and we're then going to set up to be a little bit cheeky and get on top of the stage again. Taking the bottom route down here, we're going to use this spring and then use this to fly up on top of the stage. We're then going to jump off and get a big bounce off this lightning shield, which is going to make the boss a breeze, and Huds is going to set up to do a really, really swag jump up onto the top route. Absolutely nailed it. From here, it's just a straight roll straight to the boss, and with the lightning shield, the boss is incredibly easy to reach, so it's very, very easy to keep consistently landing hits on him. The only thing you need to be aware of is sort of what the rules are for when he drops bombs, which is basically, if there's no bomb on a seesaw and you're not stood on it, he'll drop a bomb. So once you know where he's going to drop them, it's really easy to avoid them and just land all those hits. 50 seconds for that stage is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That is one of those ones where if you have Tails with you, it's almost impossible not to lose your shield. And running this in widescreen because Robotnik moves faster, it's almost impossible to hit him with bombs. So, yeah.
Incredibly challenging boss with the widescreen edition. This is the final part, I think, where Tails would be useful, where we could use him to fly directly up there rather than needing to go through here and then use these little sandwich platforms. Huds is going to grab this lightning shield and use that to get up onto the top route. Scrap Brain 1, I think, has a bit of a reputation of being quite a challenging level and a bit longer, perhaps, than people expect. But there are some surprisingly direct routes all the way through it. Going to hop back to the middle route here and just wait for these platforms to spawn and use that to jump over this gap, avoid the pit, roll down through a little tube and across here, and then we're going to come to a section that is... if you get hit by the flamethrowers here, you usually fall in the pit below and die. But by taking this route here, we've skipped all of the really, really slow sections full of platform cycles, and that lets us just breeze right to the end in under 45 seconds. Phenomenal time. Coming now into Scrap Brain 2, sort of the last really, really difficult level. There are a lot of obstacles in this. It's one of my personal favourites. It's got a really, really cool and interesting route, and there's a lot of options for Sonic to go fast. The first thing we need to do is use these wheels to ascend up this little room of doom at the very beginning, and use that to get onto the top route. This is much, much faster than any other route we have available. We then need to use some more wheels and really carefully jump over a spiky boy, and then we're going to have to just take a damage boost through this corridor, because there are 3 of them in there and it's almost impossible to not get hit. We've then got another corridor with crusher blocks and a lightning shooter on the ceiling. We're then going to do a jump over this pit and try and land in the middle to bounce off a monitor, beautifully done, and use that to go through yet another damage boost corridor full of circular saws. From here, we are a straight shot from the finish. The only thing we have in the way is a whole bunch more spiky boys on the ceiling, which traditionally this is a place where you damage boost through, and 44 seconds for that is an incredibly respectable time. Really, really hard to make it through that level clean.
Yeah, it's near impossible to make it through both fast and completely clean, so damage boost is your friend for the most part on that level.
Absolutely. Fun fact that in older versions of Sonic 1 Forever, if you spin dash too quickly at the end of that level, you would crash into Robotnik and die, and that's very fun. We're going to hop now into Labyrinth Act 4, we're going to sneak ahead of the platform to get onto the incredibly quick route here. Going to drop down between these and just avoid all of the obstacles. We've got to do a little ascent here, and we have skipped a solid 90% of the level by taking this route. Rolling really carefully to get a nice
grinder
bounce
didn't come out.
The floor grounder decided to just stay in the floor and not allow Hoods to have a nice clean bounce up to the top of here. Oh, nice clean.
Fine.
And taking the springs up gets us into Final Zone. Final Zone is really interesting in Sonic 1 Forever because it is truly random. In base Sonic 1, it is manipulatable, in that if you enter the boss room doing the same set of input, just holding right for example, and then you only contact Robotnik's hitbox for 1 frame at a time, it is guaranteed what position he will be in when the pistons move. In Sonic 1 Forever, this is not true, it is always completely random. This means you need really, really quick reflexes in order to actually not waste time here. This is timed RTA, real-time attack, and not with the in-game timer, so any pauses do matter. What's really, really nice with this though is if you set up on the second or third or the second and third pillars, you can basically react to any set of pistons there. And if you've got a bad setup, like both of the middle ones coming down, you can spin dash out of the way. The spin dash also is really just good for the peace of mind of being able to just spin dash directly under the lightning orbs and make them a non-issue. And with that, I think Hoods is down to the last hit, and time will be coming up.
Shout out to Jurgen, by the way, if you want to explain Jurgen very quickly, RPG.
Oh, really quickly in the back, you see those little purple things? Those are Jurgen's eyes, and he's got a nose and mouth underneath. You're very welcome. You'll never unsee it.
And as it fades out to black, that is time. Nice. 2024, only half a minute off world record, which is one that I currently hold. Not too bad at all. Lost pretty much all of that in Lab 1 where we had to reset because having that bubble shield is so vital, and that setup at the beginning is a little bit tricky, as you saw. It's quicker just to restart than it is to try and do it like the bubble shield. But to be honest, I'm absolutely thrilled with that time. That's a really solid marathon run for Sonic 1 Forever. And thus concludes my runs for SpeedGaming Live at 2021. RPG, do you have any final words you'd like to say?
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me SpeedGaming Live. Thank you very much for inviting me along to do Commentators. I had a blast doing that. Shout out to the classic Sonic speedrunning community. There's loads of awesome people. In particular, because I don't shout them out normally otherwise, shout outs to Lakis and Zanon for being really cool.
They're gonna love you for that, you know.
I know.
Yeah, from me, firstly, I just want to give a huge shout out to Team Forever. They are the team that put this together, that took the decompilations at the start of this year, packaged it around a really nice Sonic 1 application. They've been adding loads of really cool stuff to this with Time Attack, with Boss Rush, with Emerald Gauntlet. There's loads more to come as well. They've really done a fantastic job on this. Follow them on Twitter at S1Forever. All the links that you need if you want to play this game, if you want to download it for free, are available there. You just need to have a version of the mobile game, the mobile version of Sonic 1, and you can play this game at home as well for free. They are working on the Sonic 2 port as well, so as yet untitled, but keep your eyes out, because if you want to play Sonic 2 in this style, they're working on it. It will be coming very soon. So huge shout outs to the whole of Team Forever. I see you guys in chat. Much love to you all. RPG, thank you so much for commentating for this run. Always a pleasure having you here. And yeah, as said before in my previous one, a huge shout out to the whole Sonic Speedrun community, as always, the classic Sonic Speedrun community as well. If you're interested in learning to run a Sonic game, come and join us in the Sonic Speedrun community. We have literally hundreds of runners, if not thousands, and you know, we have tons of great resources for any Sonic game, the 2D or the 3D games. Lastly, once again, if you want to see some more Sonic action, I run Sonic 1 Forever, I run Sonic 3 out. I'm going to be running the Sonic 2 remaster that Team Forever are working on. I do the classic games too, and we dabble in some other things. Come follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/HUD601. I'd love to see you guys there. Other than that, once again, huge shout outs to my wife, to everyone else for watching. It's always a pleasure. And SpeedGaming, thank you so much for having me here to run 2 of these amazing Sonic runs at your marathon. And with that all said, Toddman, back to you.
HUD's good game. Thank you for submitting the runs to us.
My
We were
pleasure.
happy to have you. RPG, thanks for helping out on the commentary. We are going to be moving on to Metal Gear Solid coming up next, and that run will be by Snake SOCOM. But unfortunately, I will not be here. This was my final game. I wanted to make sure I got a chance to host over the Kirby block and the Sonic block and the other good games that we got to see in between. Thank you all for having me. I hope I kept you entertained and all that other good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get set up. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the marathon.